So today we're going to be drawing moths based on what we learned about Maria Sibelius Marion and her study of butterflies and caterpillars and moths and toads and other small creatures that people used to think were created out of mud by magic.
Hi guys, so what did you think about that book about Maria Sibelius Marion? Oh my goodness, right? 13 years old and she was already proving the adults to be wrong in what they thought. They thought that butterflies just spontaneously developed from mud, just like magic. They didn't realize the things that we know now, and Maria Sibelius Marion, when she was only 13 years old, studied caterpillars so closely that she knew where they came from, and she painted pictures of caterpillars and butterflies and moths and frogs, and in the 1600s she went all the way from Amsterdam, which is way in Europe. She went all the way from Amsterdam, all the way on a boat across the Atlantic Ocean to South America, to a country called Suriname, where she studied her butterflies that she loved. So today, for art, we are going to be drawing moths. I have put together some examples of what not to do and then what to do, and I've kind of chosen a more simple moth drawing. Yours doesn't have to look like mine, yours should look like yours, and it could be from the picture that I'm posting, or it can be from your imagination, but it should be what you would consider a moth. And try to think about how Maria Sibelius would have drawn her moth. Maybe you find a picture of a moth on the internet and you take a look at it and you try to make it look just like it, like Maria would have. Or maybe you decide to pull one out of your imagination and make up a moth. So for mine, I'll go through the steps of making my moth. And of course I had to make it green because green's my favorite color. So we're going to be making moths today in the style of Maria Sibelius Marion. Okay? Alright, I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. Enjoy, thank you.
Alright, so we're going to start with a sheet of paper and crayons. We're going to try not to do stick figures or circles, or we're going to try to do elaborate moths, and we can use our imagination, or we can use, you can Google an image of a moth. I'm going to use this basic ish moth design. So I'm going to start with a circle. And just start with a circle. I'm going to use blue, and then I'm going to add the moth's head. Like I said, you can draw yours out of your imagination. Maybe give him some antennas so that he can sense the world around him. And one moth wing. How are moth wings different than butterfly wings? They're a little different. I'll give you a hint. They point downward. And maybe give him legs. And something interesting that I learned about moths is that they tend to be nocturnal, which means that they come out at night, and they, especially moths that are white, they find flowers to pollinate through scent, through fragrance, whereas butterflies use color. So now I'm adding a little bit of green on one side. Notice how I'm doing it only on the right side of each part of the moth. This creates the illusion of depth. And then I'm using another shade of green. Another shade of green, and putting it next to the other shade of green once again creates the illusion of depth. So when you have three colors, three shades of the same color, all on the same object, it creates a true illusion of depth. So I'm going to add yellow because yellow can be the lightest manifestation of green. And there is my moth. I'm going to add a little bit of black to create contrast so that everything pops out. And I'm going to use dots in scientific illustrating, like in Marie Sibelius Marion's illustrations. They use a lot of dots, and I used to wonder how they would get it to look so finished. And it's because they use dots, lots and lots of dots. So I'm making some dots with my black crayon just to kind of give a nod to that scientific illustration. And then I'm adding some black to some areas on some of my lines, not all of my lines, because it's funny, your brain will fill in the rest of it. So there's my moth. Adding in a few more dots, a few more details, and yours does not have to look like mine. You can make your moth however you would like to. And then hopefully you'll send me a picture of your finished piece so I can see all of your amazing moths. I'm so excited to see them.